I'm Natalie Skorkin, here to bring your headline national news from the home front.
Inspired by national icon Rosie the Riveter, thousands of women are flooding through factory gates, feeling a gross shortage of manpower. Mothers, daughters, secretaries, wives, and even schoolgirls picked up the factory duties the men had left behind. Here to talk about American nationalism, female empowerment, and the production of wartime necessities, let's turn it over to Nat and the iconic Rosie the Riveter.
Thanks for joining us today, Rosie. Tell me about how you influence and empower women in the workforce.
Hi, I think that I show women exactly how powerful they can be. Women are strong, we're smart, we're capable, and we're skilled. I think we're more than qualified to do the same work as men. I'm setting an example and showing women that they can contribute and help with wartime efforts. As an iconic American figure, I am showing women that together we can accomplish anything. Together, we are much stronger.
Wow, you are truly an inspirational woman and have such a positive influence on America. How do you think you affect women in the wartime efforts?
Currently, the male homefront workforce is diminishing as most men are enlisting. That leaves women at home to support and raise a family. Meanwhile, the American industry is suffering. There aren't men to run the factories and businesses. That's where women come in. We're the livelihood of America, supporting our families and carrying the industry. As a woman in the workforce, promoting feminism, I'm showing women, married or not, that they can maintain a family while being independent and working. Not only does that promote feminism, it also promotes the American spirit by exemplifying that all Americans can be part of the wartime efforts.
Very interesting. And speaking of promotion, how has propaganda influenced your efforts?
Propaganda has been crucial in rounding up women to work. In fact, my picture is an example of propaganda. Many strategies are used to encourage women to join the workforce. The most popular of these is probably telling women that their husband will be able to return faster if they get to work. Women, you could hasten victory by working to save your man is a slogan that is commonly used. Other than that, a lot of signs and posters are put up throughout the town. I think that propaganda is essential in the wartime efforts and finding the strength to win the war.
It is so inspiring to see a female figure promoting nationalism and feminism. Thank you so much for joining us, Rosie, and now let's turn it back to Rachel to talk about the GI Bill of Rights.
Thank you, Nat, and thank you, Rosie. In other headline national news, a new bill has just been passed in Congress. The GI Bill, officially the Servicemen Readjustment Act of 1944, provided many benefits to veterans of World War II. The government has given away $4 billion per veteran from the GI Bill's unemployment compensation program as a thanks for fighting in the war. The education and training provisions are providing benefits to veterans, such as veterans hospitals, which were used for vocational rehabilitation. We made low-interest mortgages available and granted stipends covering tuition and living expenses for veterans attending college or trade schools. The GI Bill is giving back to those who put their lives on the line to fight for our beloved country.
Stay tuned and we'll be right back after this short break.
The Germans are coming!
Welcome back. As we know, the war has impacted numerous different aspects of American life, but has hit families especially hard. Women and children at home are feeling the strain of the war and the absence of a husband and a father. Rachel has a special guest here with us today to talk about the war and how it has been affecting everyday American lives. Please welcome Mrs. Margaret Smith.
Hello, Miss Smith. Thanks for being with us today. What effects has the war had on your family?
Hi, Rachel. Thanks for having me. That's actually a very broad question. So many things have changed since the war started. My 2 children, Mary and Tom, have had to drop out of school to start working. Most of the families who live around us have had to do this. The war needs all the help that it could get. I feel guilty for jeopardizing the education of my children. I feel that they are being robbed of a childhood, but it must be done.
Yes, that's a very difficult situation. Now, are you married?
That's a difficult question for any woman nowadays. The marriage rates shot up when the war started, and that's when Steve and I got married. But times have gotten tough. We don't have much money, the city is lacking in child care facilities, and we are just barely getting by. I know that Steve is making the biggest sacrifice by serving our country, but things have been hard without him. I shouldn't, but I'm beginning to resent him. I'm considering divorce. A lot of women are. I just want what's best for my kids.
It's just tragic. How are all the kids dealing with this?
I think they just want it to be over. Tom hates his dad. I wish you could understand. I think Mary's just confused about everything. It's all so new to her. She's only 12, and she's suddenly working in a factory. I hope they don't fall into a bad crowd like some children have. People are calling them latchkey kids. Since there is essentially no supervision at home, there has been a big increase in juvenile delinquency. My heart breaks for these children, and they deserve a loving home with attentive parents.
Yes, this is a big problem, especially in our area. So has your role in the family changed at all because of the war?
Of course, I have to take the role of both mother and father. I'm both the caregiver and the breadwinner. It's tough, but I make it work. Having a job in a factory has been a drastic change for me. Before the war, I had never worked a day in my life. I mostly tended to the things around the house. Now, I do both. I do it for my kids. I do it for my country.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Miss Smith. We wish nothing but the best for you and your family.
This just in. Zoot suits are in, normal clothes are out. With jacket arms that reach to the fingertips and pants worn tight at the waist, bulging at the knees, and choked at the ankles, the latest fashion is nearly impossible to ignore. Accessorized with a fedora-like hat, the fashion clearly says something about those who sport it. But what statement are those who are donning the look trying to make? Although they can be worn just for fashion, zoot suits are popular among the immigrant community, especially the Mexican Americans and African Americans. Zoot suits are an expression of the newfangled jazz culture, but because of war, these suits are banned. Zoot suits aren't just creating changes in the fashion world, they have also caused a spark in discrimination. In Los Angeles, Mexican Americans are rioting against the outbursts of naval sailors who disapprove of the suits. The suits are said to disrespect the uniform of naval officers and are unpatriotic, which is the last thing this nation needs. We'll just have to see where this flamboyant attire takes America.
Thank you for listening, America, and for all of you listeners out there, remember that together we are stronger, and wartime struggles can be overcome when we work together. I'm Nat Skorkin.
I'm Rachel Hickey.
I'm Margaret Smith.
And I'm Rosie the Riveter. And remember, ladies, we can do it.